What is going on, everybody? It's Alex. I'm back at you with another video, and today we're going to be looking at Mel Kiper's top 25 prospects because honestly, there's not much new content coming out. And if you guys are wondering, where the hell have I been? One, I've been working a full-time job, actually two, and I've also been trying to study tape because, again, I'm not going to produce BS content for you guys. I don't think that's fair to you. I don't think that's fair to my time in the first place to kind of waste my time giving you guys crap content. I like to give you guys the best of what I can do. And I've been studying the players. Tomorrow, we are actually going to be dropping a nice wide receiver rankings video because that was the next group of guys that I studied in depth and have gotten in about 20 deep into, and I have some really crazy ratings in there. I know I'm going to blow some people's lids off, so I'm prepared for it, but I hope you guys are excited for that because I'm going to try to get some more content going. I usually try to take off one day off early from work just so I can do some content for you guys. But let's kick right into the video. No need to have a long-winded introduction again. If you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, join the community. We've been actually growing a little bit, which is absolutely phenomenal. I thank you guys so much for believing in me and supporting me, even though it's been a little bit of a down time for the industry. Let's start off with the #1 player in the draft, Will Anderson out of Alabama. It very well could be my #1 player in the entire draft. And I think I just heard some thunder. So if you guys hear some of that in the background, gotta love Texas, right? It's wonderful. Will Anderson's an absolute monster. I remember the first time I watched him, it was inadvertently. I was watching Liam Eichenberg and I was like, damn, like he's looked good in almost every single game, but he's looking like he's getting cut. There's holes in him like Swiss cheese with this one Will Anderson dude. Turns out, obviously, Will Anderson's a freaking stud, and he was doing that as a true freshman. Will Anderson is just a different breed. Probably is going to be my #1 player in the draft. Again, I think that you could see Jalen Carter try to contest for that #1 spot, but again, just a really unique, really amazing talent. We're seeing some great talent come out left, right, and center. He would be the #1 pick if he were in this last draft class. Again, 243 pounds ain't nothing to scoff at either. So, I mean, like, look at that, guys. 17.5 sacks. Like, get out of here. Ridiculous. #2, Bryce Young. Cannot blame him. Again, I'm a little bit worried about that weight at 194. He does look really thin as well, but he graded out by far the best quarterback in this class. Really talented quarterback, has some crazy balls. Like his placement on some of these YOLO balls are just insane. You just don't see it. And I love what Bryce Young brings to the table. Just a huge fan of him. Again, I don't think he's the best quarterback in college football right now. I think when you look at Caleb Williams, I do see Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, the mistakes are probably worse than Bryce Young's, but you just, again, also better build. But, you know, Bryce Young is certainly one of the best, if not the best in college. Just, I got to put that out there. There are better quarterbacks than Bryce Young, but not many. He is a phenomenal talent, and I'm very excited to see him get his revenge this year. #3, CJ Stroud. Not a fan of him. If you guys haven't checked it out already, I have a top 10 quarterbacks video, which surprisingly did a lot better than I expected. So thank you guys again for supporting me on that type of stuff. CJ Stroud wasn't even my #3 quarterback. I believe he was my #4. Graded out, I believe, is my #5. But again, Spencer Rattler is just, you know, the intangibles have to factor in some way, shape, or form. CJ Stroud has some horrific tape. He has some amazing tape as well. So again, his position has no meaning whatsoever. He can go way up or way down. I'm excited to see whether he can actually make that ascension. And if he does, again, people always get mad at me because I'm not a CJ Stroud fan. I'm going to be perfectly happy becoming one. That's the thing. If you guys think that it's going to be amazing, don't come at me. Again, let me say that I'm wrong because I'm not afraid to do that. I like watching good football. It doesn't matter how much I don't like CJ Stroud. If he's going to put on some good tape, that's a lot more fun to watch than some boring ass tape. But again, watch Penn State game and then tell me that CJ Stroud is the #1 overall pick. I might just watch it. Just do yourself a favor. Watch that game. Yes, there are other games at Utah, Michigan State where he did phenomenally, but you have to also watch the bad games. I'm sorry. I know you guys are a lot of fans, but it's time to be real. There are some really horrific instances on tape. But again, CJ Stroud has some great pieces of tape as well. Has the talent, has the build, you know, definitely could be a very talented player. Jalen Carter, #4. Again, I'm thinking about even putting him at my #1 spot. Guy is phenomenal. He had insane amount of pressures. He was like 18 or 19 years of age. Ridiculous talent. I think Jalen Carter is an absolute freak. And he produced on a Georgia defense that was schemed to where you can't produce. Jalen Carter's just that type of dude. Jackson Smith and Jigba, just going to be pretty much frank with you guys right now. One, I think he runs in the 4.6s, if not 4.5s. Like, maybe I'll give him some credit. Maybe he runs as fast as Treylon Burks. He's not fast. Just watch him. He is slow. He had a little bit, like I watched the Utah game because I wanted to see him put up 300 yards. Because, I think that's fair because I wasn't really that big of a fan of him. He looked a little bit faster. He might be like 4.52. Ain't no way in hell he's getting below 4.5. If he does, power to him, but that doesn't pop off on tape. He is slow, and I am very confident that JSN is not going to be as high of a pick as people think just because of that 40 time. Again, he's still going to be he's still in my top 5 wide receivers. I'm not trying to shit on him, but when you put him number 5 overall, not exactly a fan. Again, he produced without Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. So again, power to him, but you just have to watch out because again, if you can't separate with your speed, there's tacticians in the NFL that can definitely beat your route running. And it just makes it a lot more tough in the NFL. Brian Breesy is an absolute phenomenal talent. I'm very excited to see him play some more this year, again, towards ACL last year. So very excited to see him have a good comeback. Michael Mayer, that's pretty ballsy to put on number 7. I don't know if he makes it past. I don't think he makes it into the 4.6s in his 40. I think he could be the next Gronkowski. I've been saying this for a hot minute now. I just don't think that he's worth a top 10 pick. I don't think he's worth a top 10 slot on the board. That's for sure. Really talented tight end, regardless. But the dude is honestly not fast enough to make the difference that he'd need to in the NFL. And I'm very excited to see maybe he could be a bit faster this year because he has everything else. He does. Really talented tight end. Eli Ricks, I'm happy to see. So, by the way, this is a live reaction. I haven't seen any of this. Eli Ricks at number 8. I think that's a phenomenal choice. He is, apart from the potential legal issues, he is outstanding. Look at his build, 6'2", almost 200 pounds. Guy's lightning quick. I remember the first time I saw him, he picked off Kyle Trask for a pick 6. And that's when I was a pretty big fan of Kyle Trask at that time. And I started seeing some of the flaws. And, my evaluation skills have evolved since then. But Eli Ricks is phenomenal, and he's going to Alabama after LSU. So pretty much 2 of the DBUs. I think that's a pretty safe bet to say he's going to probably be a top 10, top 15 pick. Kayshon Boutte is next. He is my wide receiver 1A. Might be my wide receiver 1. I think I reorganized the weighting system, but he is by far the best wide receiver in the class. I love how I just said that. He is by far at least one of the best wide receivers in the class. I think he is a guaranteed top 2. If you don't think he's a top 2, I don't know what you think. Again, the dude, as long as he stayed healthy, was phenomenal. Really, really talented overall. His only issue was his hands, pretty much. Legitimately, I think that his hands have been just a legit problem. I think I gave him out a 4 out of 10 on that one. Just a lot of drops when they should have been really easy catches. But again, Kayshon Boutte, really talented wide receiver. Big fan of him. Bijan is Bijan. Do I even need to talk about it? I don't think he should be number 10 overall. Because again, I just don't think any running back is 10 overall, except maybe Christian McCaffrey, and he's been injured quite a bit. Like, the more talented you get, the higher your usage probably will be, but that also increases your risk of injury, which also could reduce your amount of time on the field. I think at the end of the day, obviously you can dive into analytics on this. Most running backs spend an equivalent amount of time / impact on the field because of the fact that the higher usage guys sometimes get injured a lot. So I just don't think that number 10 on my board will be Bijan, even though I do think he's a phenomenal talent. And I could be biting myself in the ass. Who knows? I might build my full big board and just be like, you know what? Bijan is worth a top 10 slot on my board. And if he does, awesome. I just don't think right now, with what I know, that he's going to be like that. Peter Skoronski, number 11. He let up 20 pressures last year. I hope to God that he can improve on that. I'm a little bit worried. This tackle class looks even worse than the one last year. Last year was top heavy. This year, I don't even know if it's top heavy or deep. Legitimately, it just looks like a really piss poor offensive line class, to put it bluntly. But Peter Skoronski might be the best of the bunch, and offensive line is going to be a perennial need. It's always going to be a need. So, Peter Skoronski has that potential. We all know Northwestern trains its offensive lineman very well. I mean, you think about it. The Chargers are pretty much set at left tackle for their future. So Peter Skoronski could be the next in line to be the next Rashawn Slater. 12 TVD, my number 2 quarterback in the class, redshirt sophomore. Yeah, I think that he has some really big whiffs on his tape, but when he gets in rhythm, my God, this guy's pinpoint accurate. He's athletic enough. And I just think that I was about to say he's fun to watch. He really is. You guys got to watch it. His highlight tape is incredible. Speaking of highlight tape, Anthony freaking Richardson, man, like it's ridiculous. This guy, I think that if he's able to tap 80% into his potential, he's my number 1 quarterback in the class by far. His build's phenomenal. His arm strength, phenomenal. The placement on some of these balls, phenomenal. Richardson does have that legit QB1 in the country type of potential. Guy's just ridiculous. And look at his build, 6'4", 240 almost pounds. Like, this guy is an elite athlete too. I do not have an official grade on him because I think he'd be grading out in the 90s based off of the very, very, very limited tape that we have. I mean, he's just potentially ridiculous. Like, potential top 3 pick in this class. And it's talking about if Richardson takes a step up as a passer. I don't know if he even needs to do that. I don't even know if he needs to take a step up. He just needs to be more consistent, because I don't think he needs to take any. I guess we're saying the same thing, just in different ways. But I think Anthony Richardson's a stud. Andre Carter. So I want to see how old he is. That's for sure. But I've heard a lot of really good things about Andre Carter. Obviously, I know that he's a really talented edge rusher, but I mean, it's just crazy to think that an Army player could be going this high. Hey, I'd be super happy with that. Again, like, big fan of our armed forces, and to see somebody of that talent level in them is absolutely awesome, because we've kind of neglected the armed forces as legit, like, football talent for a while now. Because look at this, back in 1946 was the last first round pick from Army. So I'd be very proud of Andre Carter if he was able to come out. And I'm hoping that he's not like 27 years old, because, hey, if he can actually be 6'7", 250, like, if he could really be that type of difference maker on the field, I would be all in for it. Paris Johnson, guard, now moving to tackle from The Ohio State University. He's a lot better than DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones is just an absolute lost cause the more I watched him. Paris Johnson has a lot of potential. I'm just not very excited about him, to just put it plainly. I'm very excited to see how he matches up against defenders, because I do think that his ability to just move in general is going to be kind of coveted, especially because he's 315 and he seems to be agile enough for sure. So very excited to see what Paris Johnson can do, but I just don't know if he actually makes that jump. Psych, I've never heard of this guy. So straight up, again, we're in the middle of tape diving right now. When you work a full-time job, it's not exactly the end all be all, but hey, you know what? We have a new guy to watch. So D tackle out of Baylor. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Pitt guy here, Roy, but I'm very intriguing. 350 at 6'4". Love it. Miles Murphy is an absolute monster as well. I think he looks a little bit slow, but hey, again, I haven't gone too deep into the tape yet to officially declare that he is not athletic enough to be this monster, because he's a freak. Jordan Addison, USC now. He, I believe, is my wide receiver 4. Really talented wide receiver, really talented one. I'm a big fan of what he can bring to the table. And again, his weight is a bit of an issue, but he was a high usage player. So very excited to see that. Foskey, he has the crazy build and he's a crazy athlete. Again, that's projectable into the first, but I just didn't see him put it together last year. I said he should go back, and he did. So Foskey could definitely take that big jump and be a legit threat. Cam Smith out of South Carolina, it's a man-to-man corner at 6'1", 190 pounds out of South Carolina. He's going to be a beast. Keely Ringo, I think that he might have a little bit of some athleticism problems, but again, if he even shaves off down to 200 and might get a little bit faster, that could be a ridiculous build. Keely Ringo, obviously the guy who ended off the entire season for Alabama and just won the Natty. UK, Yeah, so Kentucky, Will Levis. I don't have him as a top 50 player. I do not like Will Levis that much. So I just not a huge fan. It's not he's bad, but just not really a huge fan overall. Noah Sewell's in here. I think he would be definitely in my top 20 as well. Antonio Johnson, do like him as well. You look at that build, it's going to be nice. Love that to death. And if you're saying he's going to be a Daxton Hill, the guy's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 5 inches taller. So big fan. Who Antonio Johnson could potentially bring to the table. Trent Simpson ending off the top 25. Big fan of Trent. I love Trent Simpson. So yeah, guys, there's some guys who I have a lot higher that, were not mentioned here. But again, this is way too early. I want to give you guys some good content because I saw this come out. I'm like, I have to make a video on this. I don't have much time, but I got to make one. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.